And you soon became a redcoat at Butlins. What sort of life does a redcoat have?
A hard-working life, actually, because it's a long day. You start generally about 7:30 in the morning, and you can go right through to 12, 1 o'clock at night on the morning.
You started as an entertainer?
No, I was a sports organizer. I was a general redcoat, really. That's really what it was.
And then you progressed to entertaining from there?
Yeah.
You once had a spell as a journalist. Did you enjoy writing?
Yes, very much.
What sort of stuff did you write?
Oh, I did freelance, so I worked for newspapers, but I also did freelance, so that I did general work as a reporter. But doing freelance, it gave me an opportunity to cover other subjects.
To do really what you wanted to do yourself?
Bits and pieces, yes. Your
late-night Sunday television show was a great success. But how did you get the idea for all those stunts you used to do?
I don't think it was an idea. I think it was something that progressed. I did a show in Australia. When I was in Australia, I did a show. And I found that in interviewing people and talking to people, if they were people who did something, instead of talking about it, it was generally better to do it or to show it. And it was better on my part to involve myself while talking to the people about it. For example, if it was a trampoline artist, I didn't just do a trampoline. I wouldn't have them there and a trampoline in the far corner of the studio. I would try and conduct the interview on the trampoline with the man at the same time, which
difficult.
It was very difficult actually, but we were both going up and down at different times. And as it happened, I came off this thing and knocked myself out.
Yeah.
But basically, it was something. Nobody ever actually said, "Let us do that." It was something which evolved itself.
Well, leading on from that, was there any stunt you attempted which really put the wind up you?
No, not really, because I never consider them as stunts. See, I would consider them differently. I mean, stunt is a word, so it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
I would look at them carefully beforehand, and I would look for the danger points. For example, when I went down in the car in the water, just in case. I mean, you can't be too sure about things like that, and you check them out. So in going down in the car, we had 2 air lungs down in the car with us, just in case something happened. So it's a case of knowing that there's a security behind you. It's like having the bank manager in the wardrobe, I suppose.
Here in Cardiff at Tito's Club, you are appearing nightly. For a comedian such as you are, this must be an ideal audience. How much of a challenge is television work for you?
A much greater challenge, because you're going out to a greater public and you don't get the reaction immediately. The only gauge that you have as to what you're doing in a studio is to have an audience there, and it gives you some sort of a gauge as to how the material is working or how the people are reacting.
Of course, your last television show, I believe, was made up of very short little sketches without an audience, wasn't it?
No, there was an audience. But they were made before the audience came in, and they were shown to the audience.
Are there any entertainers in show business who you rate very highly?
Yes, there's quite a few. I mean, I could sit here for a long time muttering on, but I would say that the comedian that I personally admire more than anybody and that is because of his timing. Because timing is the all-important, is Jack Benny. I think as a time expert, really, he's tremendous.
How do you relax when you're not working?
Read, walk, watch rugby.
Rugby fan, yeah?
Yep. I'm going off to a match today.
Ah, there's one at the Elms Park, yes.
Cardiff and Llanelli.
That's right.
I got the pronunciation.
Yes, double L.
Llanelli.
Do you go back to Ireland very much?
I go back about 2 or 3 times a year.
One of the greatest things that Dave Allen's show produced on television was when the lights used to go down and you used to do your Count Dracula bit. How did this start?
This started actually as a gag years ago. I was in a cinema in Dublin. We used to have what we called a fourpenny rush on a Sunday. And there was an old, unlike England, we don't have, or we didn't, I know it's changed now, we didn't have what we call the categories, the X and the A's and the B's and everything else. If the cinema was open, anybody could go in. And there was an old Bela Lugosi Dracula picture, and